Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to do something a little different. I am going to talk about Eide's Entertainment here in Pittsburgh. Every year they have a blowout sale for 2 weeks, and this year it's April 2nd through April 15th. And in addition to having deep discounts on their bagged and boarded back issues, all of their dollar bin books are 60% off, so 40 cents for what normally would be dollar comics. So the last few days, I live just a 10-minute drive from downtown Pittsburgh, so I have actually hit the sale the last couple of days, and I've got the first 30 books that I've picked up so far here. And I just wanted to go through this stack and just talk about why I grabbed it, each book. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on any one book. But it's an amazing shop, probably one of the greatest shops in the country in terms of comics, records, memorabilia, things like that. They're just a phenomenal resource for comics. And they've got some amazing stuff down on the lower level. That's where all the high-priced back issues and bagged and boarded back issues are. But they have extensive drawers of dollar comics on the first floor that you enter from the street on Penn Avenue in Pittsburgh. It's sort of between what we call the Strip District, which is just a bunch of shops and expensive condos and things like that, in the actual downtown. But enough about the geography. Let's get into the comics. So I'm going to put my stack aside and just go through each one. Of course, we saw the first one, Alpha Flight 21. I've arranged this stack in alphabetical order, just for lack of a better way. And of course, I once owned all the Byrne Alpha Flights, but I'm slowly reacquiring them. And for 40 cents, why the heck not? I love any comic that has Diablo in it. And of course, Sasquatch has always been one of my favorite strong guys. And this is a Sasquatch and Aurora story. And we can see that right here. So pretty cool little interlude with Snowbird, portending some dark things for the team. And yeah, this is pretty great. Following on that, the preceding issue, issue 20, has this amazing sequence of Sasquatch in action, just going to town on this terrain in Canada, in the wilds of Canada. I think he's in Saskatchewan. Really awesome. Love the scale there too. So really great stuff. Sasquatch and Aurora story. We get some Talisman, there's some Snowbird there, a little bit of Puck. Shaman, great stuff, that Alpha Flight. Reaching back a little earlier, we have Alpha Flight number 4. Again, just filling in the holes in my collection for 40 cents. How can you beat it? Best deal ever. And there's Sasquatch again. Really cool. There's, of course, they're battling the Master. The Mystery of Marina. This is after she nearly disemboweled Puck in issue number 2. There's the Master, who I failed to point out in my previous Alpha Flight coverage. The Master is, of course, a homage to the Doctor Who Master character played by Roger Delgado. And since Byrne was a Doctor Who fan, or is a Doctor Who fan, I mean, he looks just like Roger Delgado. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, great Alpha Flight pickups. And then I picked up Amethyst 3 and Amethyst 4. I'm trying to reacquire the 12-issue Amethyst limited series. I did pick up a nice copy of issue number 1 when I was in Chicago at Comics for Less. So adding on to that, we have 3 and 4. The first few days of the sale, I haven't spent a ton of time in the DC bins. The nice thing about Eide's dollar bins is they are roughly broken up by company. So DC, Marvel, and then Independents are a bit of chaos, but you can find even some order there as well. Like Image, I think, is sequestered off. I just love this Ernie Colon artwork. I love Amethyst. The preview pullout from Legion of Superheroes 298 hooked me on Amethyst. And then I collected this series. I just think it's awesome. They did do a subsequent series, and I never really bought those. And I think those are floating around in those boxes as well. But it's the original 12-issue series of Amethyst that I love. And I'm always threatening to cover this on the show, and I still might. But I I'm glad I was able to mention it here and grab these 2 issues for 40 cents each. Who can beat it? Grab this awesome post-Buscema issue of the Avengers. Has a great John Byrne cover. But I bought it more for the interiors and this double-page spread here with Paul Ryan pencils and Tom Palmer finishes. Tom Palmer is the through line on Avengers from issue 255 all the way into the late 300s. The man, off and on, but he had a long run. There were a few breaks here and there between Buscema, Paul Ryan, Steve Epting. Tom Palmer is the through line and gives the art a cohesive look. And I do love issues where hordes of heroes show up and have to do stuff. So say we all. And to paraphrase my famous cousin, I pity the fool who tries to mess with us. She-Hulk laying it out there, Mr. T style. Really great. We have the short-lived Avengers career of the Forgotten One, aka Hero, aka Gilgamesh. So, very cool stuff here. Like this. Move on, Avengers 305. It was great to see this one. Usually the comics in the dollar bin and Eide are not quite so beat. But this one is a bit beat up, but well worth it. Captain America 319. This is the famous Bar with No Name issue where Scourge kills a score of supervillains all at once in one incredible mass murder scene. This also has the beginnings of the Cap Diamondback relationship and some really great Serpent Society sequences. I really loved how Mark Grunwald in this Cap, in his long Cap run, he made the Serpent Society dynamic. He made them interesting. I would have given anything for a Serpent Society comic at this time. And frankly, if it was done in this 1980s style, I would buy it in an instant if it came out today. Totally great. Love it. The Paul Neary artwork, serviceable, solid. But it's more about the story, more about the characters, and this insane death sequence at the end. So happy to pick that one up. Slightly beat up, but who cares? This G.I. Joe issue, number 88, filled a hole in my run. I am building a run of G.I. Joe from 1 to 100, and I don't care really that much about condition. I obviously want them to have their covers, but I don't mind reader copies, and that certainly is what this is. It's probably good at best. But for 40 cents, I needed this issue. It fills a hole, and so I can cross one more number off my list. I think I'm down to maybe 7 or 8 issues left in my G.I. Joe run. This is very interesting. Tony Salmon's pencils, who I'm not always a fan of. These Randy Emberlin inks, though, I like the team up. It works very well. So, nice one there. Picked this up on a lark just because I remember the Hulk TV show, and it's got great Sal Buscema artwork with Steve Mitchell inks, and of course this amazing ad for this playset I had as a kid. Really awesome. This one's a bit beat up too. Definitely a reader copy. The fight between Hulk and Quasimodo in this is pretty awesome. This was just a one-shot that they did to kind of push the cartoons, I think. And it's pretty cool. It's a great story. Betty doesn't know that Bruce is the Hulk in this, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, neat story, neat one-off. I got issues 2, 3, and 4 of Jack of Hearts, a series I've owned in the past, and I'm going to try to reacquire it because I love George Freeman's pencils. I'm fairly certain I'm going to be able to find number 1 in the bins because I'm going to be back to Eide probably 3 or 4 more times before the sale is over. It's just so close to my house. And when I work 24 hours at the firehouse, I get 72 hours off. So those 3 days, if I'm not working any overtime, I'm kind of at my liberty. So I can kind of gad about town and hit comic shops, and the Eide sale is certainly a prime target for me. But look at this luscious George Freeman artwork. He did Captain Canuck for years. He didn't do a ton of stuff for Marvel, but I loved this Jack of Hearts limited series as a kid. And it's fun to grab it now. Once again, during the sale, what a deal for 40 cents. Great stuff. Love this cover too on this final issue. Really cool. Yeah, nice stuff there. Okay, what do we have next? Let me get my stack in order here. This is an interesting find. I haven't spent a ton of time in the DC bins yet, like I said. But this did catch my eye today when I was thumbing through, so I grabbed it. Issue 2 of 3 of JLA Gatekeeper. The reason why I grabbed it is because I'm a huge Tim Truman fan, and Tim Truman pretty much does it all on this one. And I've never seen him do the JLA before. You usually associate Tim Truman with grittier characters. I mean, he did have that Hawkman run, but Hawkman, let's face it, I mean, he's just a he doesn't have any powers. He just, flies by artificial means, and he's kind of a space cop or whatever, depending on the incarnation. But here, he's doing the JLA, and it's a very interesting Tim Truman take on the JLA. Really cool. I have no idea what this story's about, but it obviously has some fantastic elements to it, which of course lines up with Tim Truman's sensibilities as a creator. But yeah, he's just so awesome. So had to pick that up, Gatekeeper. And again, this retailed for probably $2.95 or $4.95 years ago when it came out, and I got it for 40 cents. This one I already have, and I do this a lot. I picked this up from my buddy Jan in Chicago. I've been telling him about this annual for years. It's some of the best Keith Giffen Legion that we're ever going to see. And Bruce Patterson inks. This is my favorite Giffen Legion stuff. This, of course, is coming out right around the time of the Great Darkness Saga. Really awesome, good stuff. A great Computo story, one of the Legion's nastier villains, Computo. So colors are a bit faded in this, but I still think it's nice. I love block here. This is before they had refined block's look. So this is fairly early on. So cool stuff here with this Legion Annual #1. I think that was from 1982. Going through the indie bins, I got teased. I saw the Liberty Project #8. I grabbed it. I thought, man, I can find the other issues. And I didn't come across a single one. Before Suicide Squad, there was the Liberty Project, a great creation of Kurt Busiek and James Fry. Really cool artwork with Doug Hazelwood inks. These are villains who are corralled by the government and forced to perform missions to obtain their freedom. So yeah, it's a great concept that was relived in Suicide Squad, and really nice Baxter paper on this series too. Very cool. So if I look a little harder in the indie bins, I bet I can fill this run out a little bit. Could not pass this one up. Machine Man, so cool. Machine Man #1 in a 4-issue miniseries. Let's check out the credits. Tom DeFalco script, Herb Trimpe breakdowns, Barry Windsor-Smith finishes in color. So the story behind this is this interesting creative team. Barry Smith wanted to get back in comics, stick his finger back in to the pool and see how the water was. And he wasn't sure he still had the storytelling chops. So he was pretty close friends with Herb Trimpe. And so Trimpe said, look, I'll do the layouts and you can do the finishes. And they're rough layouts, and it's pretty much Barry Smith doing the rest, including the colors. And it's awesome. And by issue 4, Barry Smith is doing everything. Trimpe is like, yeah, you don't need me anymore. You can finish this. So yeah, to get the first couple of issues are Trimpe breakdowns, but then Barry Smith takes over everything at the end. And I love this Mando paper that this is printed on. This is a great series. Cool return, Machine Man of the Year, the far-flung future of 2020. You don't see in Eide's dollar bins a lot of older comics. There is a box of beat comics that are beat up comics that are in the basement under the stairwell as you're going down from the first floor of the street level to the basement. Those comics were 25 cents, and I've got a few of those mixed in here, and I'll show them in a second. This one was in the dollar bins, hence it was 40 cents. And nice shape, reprinting, amazing 158. Great Ross Andrew, Mike Esposito artwork here with a Doc Ock as the foe. And of course, Aunt May plays a big part in this story. Get Hammerhead here. Very cool. Nice marble tails. All right, here's one of those 25 centers I picked up. I love the Shroud. I've talked about him on the show before. Love it when he takes leadership of the night shift. He was in that recent Spider-Woman story that I covered on the show. And this is nice. It's got Mike Zeck pencils, Mike Esposito inks, and it's got the Shroud in it. And it has this weird villain, Dance Macabre, who I think she becomes a member of Shroud's night shift eventually. So, but she is the heavy in this one. So very cool. I've yet to really read this one. I may cover it on the show. We'll see. This I'm definitely covering on the show. Got this for 25 cents. Marvel's Greatest Comics 96. It's got the Overmind in it. It's so awesome. It's got all Buscema Sinnott artwork. It's great. And they have to ally with Doc Doom to overcome a greater foe. And yeah, this is one I'm going to cover in the show for sure, in detail. But yeah, I always love this cover too. Had to get some burn. There's so much Alpha Flight in those bins. Oh my gosh, you could almost put a whole run together, save for issue 1. But they also have a ton of Namor. And I put some books aside in a little stash area too. I love doing that when I go to various stores. I have a little stash box. If you come across a box where half of the box is in perfect alphabetical order, it might be my stash box. Anyway, Namor number 12 is great. It's got awesome John Byrne story and art. And it's got the return of the invaders. Pretty cool. And some of their nastier World War II villains also show up. Namorita's in it, which is cool. Look at that. John Byrne's so good at drawing tech and gear, vehicles. Other artists might struggle, but man, he's awesome. Just makes it look effortless. There's Masterman. Yeah, this is very cool stuff. Great John Byrne Namor. And it's double size, so for 40 cents, how can you go wrong? Okay, I picked up some New Mutants, number 11. So this is from the classic Sal Buscema run. Sal's the penciler. Tom Mandrake doing the finishes on this. I love this team. I love Tom Mandrake's finishes on Sal's pencils. An early Selene, aka the Black Queen, that mutant vampire who would plague the New Mutants and the X-Men for years to come. I love the early New Mutants, the pre-Sienkiewicz. I grew to love Sienkiewicz, as I've said on the show before, but early on, this is what I wanted. Just the classic Marvel house style. Really cool. Love that New Mutants number 11. Next up, I grabbed 35 through 37. So speaking of Bill Sienkiewicz, so he has that epic 10 or 11 issue run. He leaves. Steve Leialoha comes on for a couple of issues. And then there's an interim artist. And then for 3 issues, 35 through 37, we get a return of Sienkiewicz, which is awesome. Mary Wilshire is doing the rough pencils, and Sienkiewicz is doing the finishes. And this looks incredible. Really cool. I had forgotten this even happened, and I bought these issues when they were coming out. But yeah, it's got all of the Sienkiewicz storytelling and flair, and some really, really neat characters. Obviously, if you love the New Mutants, I do. I really love that original team. By this time, too, Magneto's in charge. I love that Magic panel. Wow, she's really cool. Ilyana, Colossus, sorceress sister, trapped for years in limbo, seemingly only gone for a few seconds, but spent 7 years in limbo learning to be a sorceress and control her mutant powers. Yeah, this is great stuff. Very cool. And of course the last one, 37. And I think after this, we get some interesting Jackson Geis artwork on this series as well. Jackson Geis, Kyle Baker. New Mutants had some really dynamic artwork. Brett Blevins, who I grew to love, on the title. Really cool. Claremont's still writing it at this point too. He would eventually give way to others. I think I needed this to plug a hole in my Update 89. If not, it'll go into a little library, but I didn't have my notebook with me today. I forgot it, so I had to kind of go by memory on this one. For 40 cents, though, not a very big mistake. If I had this one already, it'll just go into a little library with some other dupes I bought already. So, official Marvel index to the Fantastic Four. I'm trying to get all these official indexes. Look at this incredible Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Wow. Yeah, this is great research stuff for when I put a show together, or I just want to, I want to browse some covers. I know you can get this stuff on the internet. I know you can. But the sources on the internet, they got their information from these books. So I love Wikipedia and I support Wikipedia, but is Wikipedia always going to be there? With the enshittification of the internet, frankly, I can't trust that it's always going to be there and be there unmolested. So, yeah, I'm long story short, I'm collecting these indexes and from dollar bins the best I can. So it'll be a process over time. There's one for FF, X-Men. I think I have all the Avengers ones. So. Yeah, oh, look at this back cover, really cool. I didn't know this existed. I was looking a little bit in the indie bins. Like I said, that's where I found that Liberty Project. The original Turok, Son of Stone. So while Valiant was doing the new Turok with Bart Sears, they were reprinting the old stories. So these are from the 1960s. Really nice stuff. Recolored by Corey Adams. And yeah, I'm not sure who did the original stories. I don't even know if it's credited. It's got to be credited somewhere. But these are awesome. I love the paper. Fun stories. I don't know if I'll ultimately hang on to this. It could wind up in a little library. But I love Turok, Son of Stone as a kid. We would get I think they were Whitman reprints. And yeah, very cool. Fun non-superhero. Every now and then you want to read a non-superhero story. Oh yeah, there's the originals. Look at that. Really great. I like how they have the covers there. Awesome. So we're almost at the end, folks. I picked up 2 issues of Strike Force Morituri. One of my goals for the sale this year is I have the first 12 issues of Strike Force Morituri that I put together from Dollar Bin Vibes. I'm going to try to fill out the rest. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not seeing a lot of Strike Force Morituri past issue 10 or 11 in those bins right now. I'm not sure why. I've seen them in the past, but I love this series. I do want to cover it on the show. It'll probably get 30 views a video, which, whatever, it is what it is. I think it's great. What a cool concept. How this hasn't been made into a movie or TV series, I have no idea, because it's so cool. It's just such a great concept. But here it is, yeah. Strike Force Morituri 22 and 28. These were published when? In the late 1989, yeah. So here we have some early Mark Bagley artwork, really great. That first one was John Calamy. Yeah, and I like this paper a lot too. I picked up an issue of The Thing because it has one of my favorite villains in it. And he's not pictured on the cover, which is weird. Instead, it's the Thing fighting the circus, these circus rubes. It's got great Ron Wilson, Joe Sinnott artwork in it, classic Marvel. But it has, let me find him, the Taskmaster shows up in this one. And I love any story involving the Taskmaster, so I had to pick this one up. Another from the indie bins, Thunder Agents #2. I love Thunder Agents, and when I picked this up and started paging through it, I just liked the paper. It just looked really. It was news. It's like classic newsprint. I love the colors. I don't know anything about this creative team really. Who did it? Yeah, John Workman is a letterer, but he gets to write it. And let's see, Lou Mana and P. Bonanno, and Will Blyberg is doing the finishes on those pencils. So, yeah, I just love Thunder Agents as characters. I had those Baxter editions when I was a kid. So, very fun to, yeah, this is great. You get this poster, really cool poster. And yeah, and then they have a backup story here. Oh no, that's just the letters page. I think this is part of the same story. So yeah, really cool. I'll have fun reading that. And it's so great. You get like a wraparound cover, which is nice. Get a back cover. Finally, I've had this before. Should cover it on the show. This a random issue of X Factor, you say? Why did he buy that? Well, the X Factor number 16 has early David Mazzucchelli pencils with Joe Rubenstein inks. It's totally awesome. If you ever see this in a dollar bin, pick it up. Do yourself a favor. Of course, Mazzucchelli is famous for his Daredevil work, Born Again, and his Batman Year One. But this shows that he's just as capable of doing superhero stuff. It's so good. He's just such a talent. I'm not saying anything folks who know comics don't already know, but you might not have known that he did this random issue of X Factor, and it's well worth grabbing. So that's it. That's the first $30 books / 40-cent books that I picked up at the big Eide's annual sale. If you're in the Pittsburgh area, or if you're even close, it's worth a drive in because they have some pretty steep discounts on the more expensive back issues as well. I am not a paid spokesman for Eide's. I do love the store. Been going there my whole life since I was 10 or 11. So yeah, it's great. And I thought it would be fun to just go through a bunch of comics I picked up and talk about why I love them and why I bought them. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.